Hi, we belong. It's Mike here again, and we are continuing our story about Joseph. Remember what we've been learning about Joseph? Joseph was a man with a lot of brothers, but Joseph was his father's favourite son. So all his brothers got jealous of him, and they sold him into slavery. That wasn't a very good ending to the start of our story, was it? And then last time we learned about how when Joseph was a slave, he did really well in Potiphar's house, and he was Potiphar's favourite slave. But then Potiphar's wife lied about him and had him thrown in jail for something he didn't do. And so Joseph was in jail. Well, this week we continue that story with Joseph in jail. And while he was in jail in Egypt, Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, got quite angry with his bread maker and with his wine taster, and he threw them both in jail. And while they were in jail, they both had dreams while they slept. And in their dreams, they were a bit worried and they didn't know what the dreams meant. So they both told Joseph their dreams. And Joseph told them, well, only God can understand dreams. But God told Joseph what their dreams meant. And so Joseph explained to the bread maker, Pharaoh was going to get even more angry at him and have him put to death. But for the wine taster, Joseph told him that Pharaoh was going to bring him back and put him back in his original position, that he was going to work again as Pharaoh's wine taster. Now Joseph asked the wine taster to remember him and remember what Joseph had done for him. But very quickly, even after he was restored to his job, after what Joseph said would happen happened, the wine taster kind of forgot about him until 2 years later. 2 years later, then Pharaoh, the king of all of Egypt, had a dream in the night. He had a first dream. In the first dream, he had a dream about 7 great big fat cows. 7 of them. They were huge. But then after the 7 great big fat cows came 7 scrawny thin cows. And the scrawny thin cows came up to the big fat cows, and the scrawny cows ate them all. And so then there were just the scrawny cows left. Pharaoh woke up. He was a bit worried, a bit scared, didn't know what was going on in the dream. But then he went back to sleep. And he had a second dream. In the second dream, there were 7 big, beautiful plants with lots of fruit. And then after the 7 big plants with beautiful fruit, there were 7 scrawny, thin, burnt, withered plants. And the 7 burnt, withered, tiny plants, they ate up the big, strong, beautiful plants. Well, Pharaoh went and asked all his wise men and his magicians, what do these dreams mean? But they couldn't explain it to Pharaoh because only God can explain dreams. Well, while Pharaoh was asking for help with his dreams, his wine taster remembered, I remember when I was in jail, that there was a man named Joseph and he could explain my dream to me. And so Pharaoh sent and got Joseph to come and explain the dream to him. And he explained that the 7 big fat cows and the 7 big fruits, they represented the same thing. That there was going to be 7 years of so much food in all of Egypt. There was going to be lots and lots of food. But then after the 7 fat cows and after the 7 big plants, there were going to be scrawny, skinny cows and scrawny, thin plants. And that meant there was going to be 7 years of hardly any food anywhere. And so what God was doing, he was giving Pharaoh a warning to get ready for the famine. So it seems like we're kind of coming into another bit of a sad story, that there's going to be something going quite good for Joseph, like when he was his father's favourite son or when he was Potiphar's favourite servant, that there's going to be 7 years of good food. But then Just like there was a bad thing happened to Joseph when he was sold as a slave, or bad when he was thrown into jail, there's going to be 7 years of famine. Well, don't worry, because in all of this, we're going to keep saying that God is in control and that He's going to make good things happen, even in the midst of all these bad things happening.